Hello dear students, today I am here to discuss or conduct a class on linguistics for the students of honors third year. Dear students, I'm Abdul Momen, lecturer in English of Prelinguistic Government College. So, dear students, you know that linguistics is actually a scientific study of language. So, uh, today we are going to study or going to discuss this important class on psycholinguistics. Why I have chosen this topic for you? There is a reason to choose this topic because psycholinguistics is the branch of language which is very important. That if we think about the child psychological development or child language development process, we can get the answer that yes, a child uh, a child can learn language or child acquisition of language. How it is possible for him to acquire the language? A child can acquire or child language acquisition is possible from the near environment. So, students, okay, let's have a closer look on the fact. The term psycholinguistics is a combination of psychology and linguistics, both of which are the branches of sciences. Psychology covers the systematic study of human experience and behavior, whereas linguistics scientifically studies language including everything it is constituted of and related to. Hence, psycholinguistics is to be oversimplified, concerned with the study of language with relation to psychology including human experience and behavior. So, psycholinguistics appears to be interdisciplinary in nature and is studied by people in a variety of fields such as psychology, cognitive science, linguistics, and so on. It as a separate branch of study emerged in the late 1950s and 1960s as a result of the Chomskyan revolution. The ideas presented by Chomsky became so important that they quickly gained a lot of publicity and had a big impact on a large number of contemporary views on language and language acquisition. As a consequence, psycholinguistics also started investigating such matters as the processing of deep and surface structures of sentences. In the early years of development of psycholinguistics, special experiments were designed in order to examine whether the focus of processing is the deep scientific structure only. On the basis of transformation of sentences, it was initially discovered that the ease of processing was connected with syntactic complexity. However, it later became clear that not only syntactic complexity adds to the difficulty of processing, but also semantic factors have a strong impact upon it. Okay, so further psycholinguistics investigates how a child acquires his or her mother tongue, while Skinner considered language learning as a linguistic habit formation through the mechanism of stimulus, response, and reinforcement. That is called the behaviorist theory. So Noam Chomsky uncovered the language acquisition device that is called LAD, L-A-D, responsible for language learning. The innate theory, Lenborg, claimed a close correspondence between physical maturation and the stages of language development. That is called the biological theory. Piaget advocated the active mental processes and functioning of functioning of intelligence causing language acquisition. That is called the cognitive theory. And Halliday maintained language develops since a child has to interact with others of his or her environment. The sociological theory that is called, besides psycholinguistics, studies how a child develops ability in his or her first language or mother tongue by going through several stages from the pre-linguistic stage to the adult stage. So, dear students, now we should discuss the matter or divide the matter that psycholinguistics. So, here is the combination of psychology and linguistics. So, now, so dear students, now we have to know who started psycholinguistics for the first time. During the 19th century, the study of speaking became an experimental endeavor. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, became an experimental endeavor. It became possible to exactly measure the mental durations involved in naming pictures, colors, or numbers. Wilhelm und Psychology, Wilhelm's psychology laboratory in Leipzig, the first of its kind, became the cradle of experimental psycholinguistics. So now, if we think that what is psychology and what is linguistics, as we've come to know in the very beginning of our text in the first chapter, that linguists, as we have know, the language is the medium or via of human beings to share their feelings with each other or one another. This is called language. So this is the medium. But linguistics, okay. So language has no any particular rules, semantics, pragmatics, everything. So language, may be various types of language are there, but linguistics has a quite scientific system process. So language and linguistics, there is a difference. We will discuss it in our next class in sociolinguistics. So linguistics is the scientific study which has exact and accurate system with semantics, morphology, pragmatics, what should I say, pragmatics, morphology, phonology, everything, etc. So what is the connection between psychology and linguistics? If we think that psychology or linguistics, as I have come to the conclusion that linguistics is the scientific study, but psychology actually it's the study of our brain, thinking power, behavior, attitudes, everything, including in psycholinguistics or psychology. Psychology is a mental setup. Psychology is an attitude for human being. So this is psychology and linguistics. So this is a combination between psychology and psycholinguistics. So that's why the term psycholinguistics, both of which are the branches of science. So now, if we clear that how the psycholinguistics functions, we have to go to study, or we have to go to show the practical chart or practical something about psycholinguistics. What should I say, that the linguist acquisition of children. So okay, dear students, now I am going to show you the child linguist development process, how the child becomes eligible or become fluent in language. So there is the process. So let's have a look. So dear students, we find many different ways to characterize the development sequence in child language acquisition. On the production side, one way to name the stages is as demonstrated in the table. So now I'm going to draw a table that 1, 2, and 3. So okay, before that I have to write different. Perhaps you are watching. So different stages in child language development. Okay, so now we are drawing a table with 3 rows. The rows, okay, this is the stage, and number 2, typical age or ages, and description, I mean features. So number 1, it is called pre pre linguistics, sorry, pre-linguistic stage. So this is pre-linguistic stage, and this pre-linguistic stage is okay. No need to give an underscore. So pre-linguistic stage 1 to 2 months. 2 months. So what happens in this stage of a child? The child always crying, and fussing. Okay. Number 2, it is called 2 to 4 months. In this stage, what happens? Grunts or cries. So side grunts or cries. So I have to remove the underscore. Okay. So grunts or cries. Cries. S-I. Sorry, spelling mistake. S-I-G-H and coos. Later coos. Course. So in 4 to 6 months, 4 to 6 months, what happens? So I have to shorten the middle row. So what happened? In this stage, uh, squills, growls, yells, squills, squals, squills, yells means I told you, yells, and snorts, snorts. Nagdaka. So pre-linguistic stage, actually the duration of pre-linguistic stage of a child is 1 to 6 months. 1 to 6 months. This is called pre-linguistic stage. Okay. So now we are going to the next stage, babbling stage. Babbling stage. Babbling. Babbling stage, actually 6 to 9 months. When the becomes baby comes to this stage, what happens? Repetitive consonant and vowel, repetitive, repetitive consonant and vowels, repetitive consonant and vowels in this stage, uh, patterns. So here, repetitive consonant vowels is patterns. We look or we observe that our children are repeating the consonant and some vowels again and again. So this is called a babbling stage. So in one word stage, now the one word stage. So the duration of one word stage is 9 to 12. 9 to 12, I want to mention the months again. 9 to 12 months. Okay. So what happens in this stage? 9 to 9 to 18 months. That is called one word stage. In this stage, a child uh, child utter the single, like, open class words or word stem, like one word stage, ba, ba, ma, da, like this. In Bengali, that পবর্গীয় অক্ষরগুলো যাকে ভাবে বলে. So then word two word stage, what happened and what is the duration of two word stage? 18 to 12, 18 to 24 months. That is called okay. So in this stage, we see that many sentence with simple semantic relations. Many sentence, I mean, pragmatist or fragmentation of or in a sentence, mini sentence, fragmentary sentence are produced in this sentences are produced in this stage. So mini sentence some with simple semantics. We know that semantics is the relation of a sentence within the meaning of this sentence. Okay, two word states. So telegraphic states. Now telegraphic stage. So the duration 24 to 30 months. So what happens in this stage? In this stage, sentence structure quite well, but lack of grammatical morphemes. So lack of grammatical morphemes. So this is telegraphic stage. Letter 30. Letter multi-word stage. So later on, we see that multi-word stage. Here a child use multi-word 30 plus 30. It is called 30 plus. So Here we see that grammatical or functional structure. Here we see that the child can use the grammatical or functional structures, is able to use these structures. So this is the child language uh, development process. So what or which is the factor to learn or to acquire the language? Environment. Environment is the main factor. So environment is the main factor. So who are especially who play the important role for the child language? Yeah, firstly parents. Okay, so parents, then family members, family members, then neighbors, so these elements can play vital role in case of child language development. Okay, so dear students, now I'm going to tell you the detail that let us now be aware of the basic information of the different stages in child language development as shown in the table above. So as we have shown you that pre-linguistic stages, with that at this stage, pre-linguistic stage in child language acquisition typically covers the time from a child's birth to his or her 7 months or 6 months. After birth, the infant vocal tract is in some ways more like that of an ape than that of an adult human. So during these first 2 months of life, infant vocalizations are mainly expressions of discomfort with crying and puking, along with sounds produced as a byproduct of reflexive of vegetative actions such as coughing, sucking, swallowing, and burping. There are some non-reflexive, non-distress sounds produced with a lowered, what should I say? Uh, There are some non-reflexive or non-distressed sounds produced with a lowered palate and a closed or nearly closed mouth, giving the impression of a syllabic nasal or nasalized vowel. Okay, so babbling stage, in this stage at about 6 months, canonical babbling appears. Babbling refers to the child's effort to produce sounds by using his speech organs. Children start making extended sounds that are chopped up rhythmically by oral articulations into syllable-like sequences. And in this way, one word stage, in this stage, a child can utter the first words spoken by babies alike, likely to contain the consonants. That's p, b, t, d, m, n. That's and to the vowels babies still keep playing with many of the sounds that they have acquired through their babblings until they can utter k, g correctly in their vocal gymnastics. The first words often take the consonant plus vowel form and are usually monosyllabic, for example, da, ba, and the like. Vowel plus consonant combinations is also heard, as in up and cup. Moreover, diphthongs may be heard in the words down, bought, light, etc. So, two-word stage. In this stage, the period from a child's 1 year and a half or 2 years is usually recognized as the two-word stage. During this stage, children begin to combine single words into two-word utterances. This stage is often preceded by a short period in which a child generates strings of single words in succession with separate intonation on each one and pauses in between. For example, baby share, baby share. So in this stage, with the start of two element utterances, children begin to follow some grammatical rules in their sentence production. At, at the end of the two word stage, some inflections usually begin to emerge, for example, in id, etc. Along with grammatical functions, children express more than one role or action at a time when they describe an event. They may indicate both the mover and the action. For instance, Gogiberg or the mover and the movable affected by the action, as in Candlebook, or both the movable and its place as in towel bat. Finally, when children begin to combine words, they can put both given and new action. So in this stage, children can say that uh, Baba or Ma or father, mother, mom, dad, mom college, mom kitchen, dad college. So there is no grammatical structure in this stage. And in telegraphic stages, we know that the time from 24 months to 30 months is marked as the telegraphic stage, during which children start producing utterances with more than two elements. So in telegraphic stage, these utterances are called telegraphic species. Telegraphic stage, the small function words such as to, the, a, can, is, etc. are missing. Only the words that carry the main message, that is, content words, are used. I mean, when the baby started the sentence without verb or grammatical rules, that is, that college, that market, I mean, that has gone to market, mom is uh, cooking in the kitchen, so the child tells that mom kitchen. So in this stage, the small function words such as to, the, I mean auxiliary verb, and all are missing. Only the words that carry the main message, that is, content words, are used in the like cat, stand up, table, what, that, and no, sit here, and so on, like the function words. This is called telegraphic stages or telegraphic speeches. So gradually a child begins to include function morphemes in his or her utterances. So this is the process how a human being can acquire or can learn language. So this learning or this language acquisition process is actually miraculous. So in the later multi-word stage, at this stage, uh, children first begin to use grammatical elements. The process is usually a somewhat gradual one in which the more telegraphic patterns alternative with adult or adult-like forms, sometimes in adjacent utterances. For example, she's gone, her gone is gone. I mean, Domenico at 24 months is kicking a beach ball. Her climbing up the ladder there. I'm teasing mommy. Having this, I'm having Nana. I'm having this little one. May have that. Mommy haven't finished yet, has she? Like this. That is to say, over a year to a year and a half, sentences get longer. Grammatical elements are less often omitted and less often inserted incorrectly, and multiple close sentences become commoner. However, from 30 months on, that is the later multi-word stage, children can usually produce multi-word utterances resembling adult expressions. So this is called child language development. So child language development is actually and finally is called the psycholinguistic process, and that is called psycholinguistics. So in our next class, so dear students, thank you for staying with me with patience. And so, in our next class, I will discuss on sociolinguistics. So, psycholinguistics already I have done it today, and in my next class, I will conduct this the sociolinguistics about the sociolinguistics. So, sociolinguistics, you know that is the descriptive study of the effect of any and all aspects of society, including cultural norms, expectations, and context on the way language is used, and society's effect on language. It differs from sociology of language, which focuses on the effect of language on society. Okay, so sociolinguistics overlaps considerably with pragmatics and is closely related to linguistic anthropology. Yeah, so sociolinguistics, historical linguistics is a historical interrelation with anthropology can be observed in studies of how linguist varieties differ between groups separated by social variables. That means ethnicity, religion, status, caste, gender, uh, level of education, as etc. And or geographical barriers, mountain range, a desert, a river, etc. So sociolinguistics varies nation to nation. So we have different beliefs, different thoughts, different cultures. So sociolinguistics is that type of linguistics which is applicable for or depending the situation or context. The social beings use the type of language that is called sociolinguistics. So, dear students, already I have given some idea about sociolinguistics. So, thank you for staying with me, and inshallah, we will talk about the matter, and inshallah, we will meet or can join our next class. Till then, Allah Hafiz and bye bye.